what's going on at the moment. So I've made these concentric holders and I've stuck them onto this stator, and there's a few problems that I'm not happy with, and the main one is the fact that when I made the stator, I made it as a test setup, and it's a bit warpy. It's very flimsy. Now I was hoping that putting these on would stabilise it, would straighten things out a bit, but it is the stator anyway. The other thing that I'm not happy with, because when I initially built this, obviously I was just built it as a test rig just for these some Alnicos and stuff, but we're not going to be using those actually for this. So I've had to extend my ferrites out, but I put the ferrite bars on here to extend the magnetic flux. But I found that I'm getting interference. So I made this actuator. Obviously I need to make a top bearing holder to stabilise this, because this thing just flops about in the bottom bearing, which is out in the middle down there. One bearing is not sufficient to hold this thing. So I'm starting to hit a few design constraints and problems. I expected I would, because I was putting too many big magnets on here, and so what I'm kind of in two minds right now about whether or not to go back to the drawing board, redesign this in a different way, because this was designed as a just for testing purposes really, for the other magnets. It wasn't designed for these great big bulky concentrics. The problem I get is the interference, because if I add too much magnetic flux, especially if there's three magnets like in the stator, right, just give me a sec, I need to take the drive shaft out because I want to show you what I mean. Sorry about this. I'm taking the drive shaft out because the shaft's too long and it hits the table. So if I stick this on here like this, we have pretty good coupling actually. We can see it deflecting on the thing, but the problem is, even when this is in the neutral position, oops, hang on a minute. There's a reason I took it off the drive shaft, and that's because I want to be able to put it in a different position without it snapping in, and the bearing would make it spin a bit. If I can get this in the middle where I want it to be. But basically what happens when it's in the middle like this is we get interference, as in, it's good, it's stabilised now. Where's my gauge gone? I don't know where my magnetic gauge is gone now. Oh, there it is. So even with this in the off position, basically, we are still getting some deflection on here, which is what I'm talking about, the interference. Because the problem is, even though the magnets they're all the same pole, you see, and because the magnets are more powerful now, I'm getting coupling, unwanted coupling, so it's still basically on when I want it to be off, if you see what I mean. So this is one of the issues, because the spacing is not quite right, and I can't get these things far enough away. That's the problem. But it works fine if I take all these extra magnets off, because I put them on the back. I'm trying to do this without actually pinching my fingers. Ouch! Which I did anyway. Ouch! Right, so just with the three, there's actually three 10mm magnets in each one of these holes now. Just those. It behaves a lot better, but we don't get. Hang on, we don't get a great deal of coupling through. Even when I tilt this back, there's is not sufficient to give us enough flux through there. This is what I'm talking about. It's because of the spacing. I need these concentrics ideally need to be mounted instead of horizontally, they need to be mounted vertically with the piece of ferrite going through them instead of at the side, because I've got a coupling. You can't really see this, but if you look down there, there's a bit of ferrite sticking out the bottom of those concentrics. I don't know if I can get the light on it. You might be able to see it onto that bit of ferrite bar. Yeah, you might be able to see it. There's a little bit of ferrite sticking down. Now, there's a bit of a gap on some of them as well, which is not great, because I did manage to find some bits of ferrite that was already cut, which were about the right length. As I say, I'm not happy with it. It's the coupling is just not there. It's not good enough. And if I add more magnets, I get too much flux, where it's basically not. It's on all the time. Because this thing needs to be, it needs to be either larger, or we need to have these concentrics on a different axis so that we don't get this interference problem, which is what we're getting. If the magnets were perpendicular, as in pointing outwards instead of down, then we wouldn't get this cross field contamination, because that's what's happening. We're getting the fields are merging, you see. We're getting a bit of cross field contamination because the magnetic fields aren't basically switching properly because of the space being so close. So yeah, I thought I'd just give you some heads up on what I'm going through at the moment. Why I'm printing parts. I printed all these legs, these things. I made them quite lightweight so they wouldn't use a lot of plastic as well. The idea with these is that I would glue these. That's another issue I'm not happy with, is that 3 of these legs would be stuck to support this stator around there, and the rotor will be underneath. And then I'm thinking, oh damn it, well I could screw this together, but then I'm going to have screws interfering with everything. And yeah, and if I super glue this to that, I'm going to have a problem dismantling it. So I'm in this situation where I'm buggered if I do and I'm buggered if I don't sort of situation again. So I am thinking about going back to the drawing board, actually redesigning this in a different way, because this was designed, as I say, just for these Alnico magnets. It wasn't designed for the concentrics, and that's why I didn't waver in the extra sizes and all the spacings and everything else for this. So yeah, don't hold your breath. It's going to be a little while. I'm not going to rush. I'm going to take my time to think about it. The actuator as well is another issue, because I really want to use different poles. I want to be able to switch north and south, not just one pole, which is what I have to do with this, because there's not enough room to put the extra poles, if you know what I mean. So I'm disappointed. I really want to get this. I really wanted to test this out, but the way things are going, and because of the bleed through, the magnetic bleed over, it's just not doing what I wanted. But you'll probably like the job I did with my triangles, my V-shaped, which is to help reduce drag as the magnets are exiting. They do work. I've used them before in my previous bobbleheader designs. So I just used a bit of welding rod actually on these. So it's just bits of welding rod glued into these little tracks, which I model up in SketchUp, and the magnet comes on the entry point, is attracted, and then it gets to the middle, and it sort of pushes away in the middle, and then it exits. And they do seem to work quite well. And I glued these in with just ordinary glue, so I can use alcohol to get them out, you see, because I don't want to get them stuck. I had to glue them in because every time the magnet passed over, it pulled them out, and they were sticking to the magnets, so I had to glue them in somehow. So they're just stuck in with mild glue, so I can always add alcohol, use alcohol to soften the glue and they'll come out. So yeah, I just thought I'd tell you what I was doing, what's going on, the ins and outs and the problems I'm seeing right now. Yeah, but if I can maybe I just wanted to make this a quick video really, but just a minute, I'm just getting my camera stand. I'm just want to take the cover off a minute. I want to try to show you a little bit more, but hang on. Bloody thing. Alright. So, yeah, this is what happens when you change direction and in midstream sort of thing, because that's what happened. Because I was right, I've got the stand on now. I designed this for a different setup, and now my setup has changed and my model hasn't, and I've been trying to adapt this model to suit. Well, obviously it's not going to work because it's too closely coupled. I mean it's just, yeah. And I don't like the fact that I've got to make this. I should show the SketchUp actually. Let me just show the SketchUp model while I'm at it. What I've done so far, you'll see what I mean. It's getting a little bit crazy. Right, let's just zoom in a minute. Right, if I zoom right into the SketchUp model, just let me load it as well. You see what I mean? It's getting a little bit crazy. I've got this bearing, this white thing here, this white thing on top is for the bearing on the top, right? Now I've got this great big overhanging arms which are supposed to glue or double-sided tape them onto, or I could screw them on or whatever, or I could attach something on the backs of these to hold them together, but it's starting to look a bit crazy. So I was trying to adapt this thing, and then I thought, well, these magnets need to be bigger anyway, and I can't now. Then I realised, well, I can't go any higher now because I made the brackets. So yeah, so that's what that's what I ended up with when I was prattling about, and I'm thinking, oh my god, I'm just adapting, and it's like correcting errors over tops of other errors and trying to fix it. And yeah, I'm going to go back and remodel something completely new with using the concentrics that I build. But if I design something around the concentrics, then I can make sure that I don't have the magnetic field contamination problem. But at the same time, I want to try this thing. I want to just get this top brackets done and then see if it actually does anything, if it actually works. Because if it doesn't work, then I'm going to be wasting my time designing another model. You see, this is where I am right now. My head's in a bit of a spin. So I'm thinking, well, can I make this thing work just to prove that it'll work? I'm thinking I might be able to do, but then there's all this extra flux going around with the bigger magnets, so I can't use the bigger magnets, so I've got to use the smaller magnets. And I've got to make sure that these bearings run really easily, otherwise I can't, it won't run because the magnetic field is spilling over. You see, if you get two bars, right, and you stick a magnet on one bar and you hold another bar next to it, that other bar is going to pick up that field, because that's the other thing. If we go to X-ray view, those bars, oh, you can't even see them through the X-ray view. You can just about see them. Those bars go to the central axis point. Actually, let me back out a minute. Let me just hide some stuff, and then I'll show you what I mean. Let's just edit group. Right, let's just hide some stuff, and I'll show you what I mean. Hide, right. Edit group, edit group, hide that. Oops, I went and locked it. Silly mate, undo lock. Just want to hide it. Right. So you can't see the bars on here because they're not. Oh yes, they are. They're in there. Right, let's just go back out a minute. Right, let's see if I can hide these things. I'll hide that. Right, you see this bar down here? This is a bit of ferrite that's coupling to the concentrics. This bit of ferrite right here that's grey. Now it's coupled onto the ferrite bar, which is the purple colour. Right, this purple thing is a ferrite bar. Now originally my design was to have the magnets in the middle, right? Do you remember? It was a vertical pillar with the magnets drop down and coupling against these bars. Well, now I'm not using that method now. These bars are sending magnetic fields, are picking up the magnetic field from the really big magnets that are on top of here. Even when they're across here, the field, if the magnet is basically in this area, if the magnets are in the middle, these bars are still picking up the magnetism, you see. That's what the problem is. Yeah, because the bigger the magnets are, the more these flipping bars pick it up, and even when I don't want them to pick it up. So that's the issue that I'm dealing with right now. So I'm just going to undo all that in a minute. Just go back to where I was. You can see my dilemma. So anyway, I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to sleep on it, and let me just zoom in again a minute. Zoom out, I mean. So at the moment, I haven't got a top bearing and it flops about, you see, so I can spin it, but I ain't got the rotor on, obviously. The rotor, and that's another thing. The rotor spacing on the magnets was for the other arrangement, and the magnets are all spaced in the wrong places. You know, they're not designed for the three magnets to be lined up all at the same time. They're actually spaced. Well, this is the new rotor that I did, and there's 10 of them, right? You do the math, there's 10 magnets. It's not an even 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 is an even number, yes, but think about that. We need an odd number because it's 3, right? We want 1, 3, what was it, 5, 7, 9. It's you know, we need to multiply it in odd numbers, not even numbers. So my freaking bloody rotor is set wrong. All the magnets are spaced wrong, so it's not going to time right. I can't time it with this setup, so I'm really getting frustrated now. It's really doing my head in. Right, even maybe 2 of the magnets would line up right, but it's not going to be any good. But I mean, at least it got some of it sorted. I can see that there's not much drag there, but so anyway, I'm going to sleep on it, and then I'm going to see if I can come up with a better design actually. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.